Let's give praise and gratitude to the presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for all His goodness and blessing, so that we can gather in an academic discussion with Prof. Mario Gandra this morning. Blessing and greeting may be bestowed upon the Lord of nature, namely the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. May we, as his people, get intersection at the end of the Yawm. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing, my name is Yulianto Eko Wibowo, a doctoral program student in the Technology and Vocational Education study program, who will be the moderator for the academic discussion agenda this morning. I wrote the schedule. The academic discussion begin with a lecture presentation from Prof. Mario Gandra regarding the importance of designing and developing modern higher education curriculum. Then followed by a discussion or question and answer session, then closing. Before Prof. Mario Gandra presents our lecture material this morning, I will read the short curriculum vitae from Prof. Mario Gandra. Name, Prof. Mario Gandra, Assistant Professor in Department of Clinical Analysis and Toxicology, Faculty of Pharmacy, Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. Professional Master in Education, Management and Dissemination in Bioscience Program, Institute of Medical Biochemistry, Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. Prof. Mario Gandra, it's time for you to present your presentation.
Thank you very much, Yulianto. I'd like to say hi to Professor Brewery. Hello, Professor. It's nice to have you here.
Hello, Professor Mario Gandra. I'm sorry. I just I want to talk about not a lot. For the first, thank you for your time. I know this is a very, very, very good morning. I'm sorry about the time, because we know that the time is so wide between Indonesia and your countries, and then the second is thank you for your effort to involve your student to join with us in here. I think that's good. That's a good idea, good practices, how to give our student to feel the international lecture, and then join with the student international. And after that, we know we will have more activities in collaboration between two universities. I think that's good, because without now what's the Indonesian student, and then what's the Indonesia your campus student. I think we don't have time how to more close between student. Then I promise for the future we will have short activities, especially how to improve the capacity of student, including the lecture, I think. And then we hope that sometimes my student will visit your university. Why not?
Great.
And then we will invite your student to follow the short course in here, especially in lecturing in art, or maybe in culture, in others field in vocational education, because we are in a vocational education. So again, thank you. Very, very good morning. And then I'm sorry about the time for your side. Thank you. Good luck for everyone in here.
Thank you for the invitation. So you can discuss these ideas after the presentation. I have some ideas for the future.
Okay.
For us, I think it's good to have this conversation. So I'm going to share my screen.
Okay.
Let me see here. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So this main building that you see here in this picture is one of the campi. It's a campus of the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, but unfortunately, it's not the campus where I work, but it's a very beautiful one. It's a very, very beautiful picture of our city in Rio de Janeiro. But I like to show this picture, although I do not work in this building of the Federal University. But okay, let's start. So when I received this amazing invitation to speak to you, I was afraid I wouldn't have anything relevant to add to your discussions or to your program. But then I thought that some of my current work with my master's students and in the School of Pharmacy, there is a common theme among all of these works, which is curriculum designing and developing. So I thought that would be a good idea to talk about this, to tell a little about the work of some of my students who are dealing with curriculum, and then to tell a little bit of what we as professor in the Faculty of Pharmacy are dealing with the reform of the pharmacy curriculum here. So it's a tough job. Let's see what can we say about that. So my name is Mário Gandra. I'm from the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. And I have been working for some years with education, higher education and technology, and a little bit of curriculum design and some other areas that mixes education and technology, mainly higher education. So let's see, what can I talk to you about curriculum that we are working here. So I divided this presentation in 3 parts. In the first part, I'm going to address the technological graduation that we have here. I don't know if this exists in other countries. I'll explain this, and we have a problem with the radiology technology curriculum, and we are trying to have ideas about this, investigate, and have some ideas to solve the problems. In part 2, I'm going to talk about a little about the requirements to be a teacher in Brazil, especially a higher education teacher, a professor. And then because of that, I will have to discuss a little bit of the stricto sensu post-graduation curricula, master curriculum and doctoral curriculum here in Brazil. And then in part 3, as I told you, I'm going to tell a little bit about this process that we are facing here in the Faculty of Pharmacy to reform the curriculum of our pharmacy graduation program, okay? With this incredible challenge of the transdisciplinary curriculum. It's a real big challenge for us. So before I even start part 1, I would like just to explain how the academic degrees are divided here in Brazil. So we first have basic, or maybe sometimes it's called primary school. It's the first 5 years of school. Then we have more 4 years, which, for example, in the United States are called junior high. And then we have proper high school, 3 years of high school. Some people can choose a regular high school, or maybe get to a technical high school, which is the TVET, so technical and vocational school. that would be 4 years. So 3 years of the high school, actually 2.5, and 1.5 year of technician training, vocational training. Okay, so they normally are tied together, the high school and technician, but sometimes you can just have the regular high school diploma, and then you can get after a technical diploma at a technical school, technical and vocational school. Okay, we don't use the term vocational here anymore. It was used in the past. Now it's all technical school, and the person becomes a technician. Then we have graduation, but graduation here in Brazil, we have 3 types of graduation. Diplomas. So we have bachelor, which can last from 4 to 8 years, depending on the area. So medicine, 8 years, pharmacy, 5 years, and so on and so forth. We have licentiate. Licentiate, it's a part of the bachelor. It's not so deep in knowledge as the bachelor, but you have pedagogic training to be able to be a teacher at junior high school and high school. For example, you want to become a mathematics teacher, then you have to study to get a degree, a graduation degree, a licentiate in mathematics, okay? And we have the technologic graduation, which are 3 years. It's kind of the higher education technician, let's say like this. So it's the technologist when you have this degree. Then we have post-graduation, lato sensu, and we have strict sensu, master and doctoral, as usual. These 3 here are highlighted because I'm going to talk about them in the presentation. So let's begin. Before that, we have a special type of master program here in Brazil, which is the professional master program. What is this? So the professional master program was created by the government to bring together companies and industries with the universities, with the research institutions. So people who are far from academia, far from university, for some time already working in a company or industry, they may face an issue, a problem to solve or to improve in the company. So they look for a professional master program to develop a project based on that job demand or issue. So,
Profesor wong luar negeri mulai kaosan tok ini iki.
Oh, sorry. When the person has the master program, enroll in the master program, beside the thesis, they must present also a product. This product can be a real product or a process, or the improvement of a process or a product. Our master and regular academic master and doctoral programs have the possibility to earn scholarship from the government, but not the professional master, because the person already is working and have a salary. And I am a supervisor at the professional master program on education management and propagation of science here at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. So with that being said, let's start part 1. Let me minimize this, where I'm going to discuss the curricula of technological graduation in radiology. Why this? Okay, let's see. The radiology technologist, so somebody that went to the technological graduation in radiology, this person has 5 work areas as is regulated by law. He can work on radio diagnostics, radiotherapy, radioisotopes in the industry, or with nuclear medicine. Recently, these work areas have been expanded to such positions as supervision and management and coordination of teams and procedures and quality control and so on. So then we have Cesar, and I think Cesar is here with us in Zoom. Cesar is a professional master candidate from that program that I told you. And after he's been selected, he passed the selection process to enter the master program. He came to me and said, Mario, I've been teaching at technology graduation programs in radiology for many years. He himself is a technologist, a radiology technologist, and he's a teacher in these programs for some time. And he said to me, the curricula of all the places I worked, all the institutions, are all focused only on radiodiagnostics. So we have an issue here. Although the regulations say you can work on many different areas, 5 specific areas, and then management, the programs are all focused on radiodiagnostics. So with this, we developed a project for him, for his master work, that is the analysis of technology graduation in radiology curricula in Brazil. So why would we develop this this project? To try and address some issues. So if the student don't see all work areas represented in the curriculum, he won't be prepared for all work areas. Also, I understand that the focus is on radiodiagnostics because Brazil is more developed on that one. But if we don't have more students being prepared for the other areas, how is the country going to develop these other areas if you're not creating these professionals? Also, the student has no autonomy. He can choose what he prefers, the area he prefers to study. The professional that exits the university is only fit for Brazilians' current situation. But what about the future? What if the job market change? And of course, with this kind of curriculum, the internationalization is very low. So how can we fix that? Cesar is doing this. He's collecting the TGR, I'm going to say TGR, curricula from all programs in Brazil, a lot of data. And he's analyzing these curricula. How is he analyzing this? Each course of the curricula, he's categorizing, classifying them. If they are a basic course, he's classifying them into the great areas of science, so life science, exact science, human and social science, for example. And if it's a more applied or professional course, professionalizing course, he is then classifying them in those 5 areas of work that I showed you before, and also management. Okay, what I'm going to show you here, it's only a preliminary result with only 3 institutions located in the state of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And here we have the 3 different institutions and the percentual distribution of basic course in curriculum. So we have some kind of balance here between life sciences, exact sciences, and human and social science, okay? That's kind of fine. It's only 3 institutions, but let's take a look now, not on the basic course, but to the professional ones. That is amazing. That's exactly what Caesar told me when he came to talk to me so we could draft and develop this project. Can you see? They have the 3 curricula from these institutions, all are focused mainly on radiodiagnostics. None of them have any course on radioisotopes. Almost nothing in nuclear medicine, a little bit in radiotherapy, and a little bit in industry. So, what can I do? Well, for this specific situation, when we are dealing with a very specific area of work areas, no? We may start maybe it's ideal to start thinking on flexible curriculum. What do I mean by flexible curriculum? So we keep the basic course, we set mandatory course also beside the basic course. We should have mandatory course on all 5 work areas plus management. Not a lot, but some mandatory courses on all areas. And then we could draw some axis or some path or routes of optional courses. So we can have a route of, for example, nuclear medicine courses, a route that these should be all optional, okay? So another route for radiodiagnostics, another route for radioisotopes, and so on. And the students should be obligated to choose at least 2 to get his degree and his diploma. That's just an example of an option of flexible curriculum. So after he has studied the basic course and the mandatory course on the 5 work areas, he would choose 2 routes to follow. Why 2 and not only 1? Because I want them to have, I would like them to have autonomy to choose more than 1 area. So choosing 2, I know most of them are going to choose radiodiagnostics because most of the job opportunities in Brazil for radiology technologists is on radiodiagnostics. So if he chooses this, he's going to, let's say, guarantee a job later. But he can also choose another route so he could amplify the spectrum of study. This gives him autonomy, flexibility. For example, let's say that when he reaches the time to choose a route, he's being offered a job. Oh, Mario or Caesars, how about you come to work with us next year when you finish your study, your graduation? But you have to have knowledge in, for example, radioisotopes. So the student can choose the radioisotope route and then be more prepared, better prepared for a a job that he's been invited for. Or for example, if he knows that he has the opportunity to go to a foreign country where he knows that for example, radiotherapy is a strong area there in that country, and he's going to live there after he graduates, and he's going to live and work there. So he may choose radiotherapy as an emphasis for his degree. So that's autonomy and flexibility. Okay, so let's go to part 2. This is, I have just presented a bit of Cesar's work. He's collecting more data and doing a great job analyzing this lot of data. And next, I'm going to tell you about a little bit about another project of one of my master's students that also deals a little bit with curriculum. So this is Simone's, the name of the student, the master candidate is Simone. And part of her work, her study, deals with the curricula of stricto sensu programs, master and doctoral programs. So we can better prepare professors for higher education. Let's see why I'm saying these words here. So first, I have to make a little introduction, telling you about what do we need here in Brazil to become a teacher. What kind of education or degree must we have to be teachers here in Brazil, okay? So for primary school, that first 5 years, remember, we need a bachelor degree in pedagogy, okay? To be a teacher in junior high or high school, we need a licentiate degree. Remember, the licentiate, it's a kind of graduation that is not so deep in knowledge as the bachelor, but you have training, pedagogic and didactic training. So then you can be a teacher on specific areas, such as specific subjects, such as mathematics, physics, chemistry. So here in Brazil, at the universities, we have licentiate in chemistry, licentiate in literature, and so on, okay? To be a teacher at a technical school, one has to have any graduation degree, a bachelor or a licentiate or a technological graduation degree, okay? Although the technical schools normally require lots of practical experience in the field. For example, if you want to teach at a radiology technical school, it's not required, but it would be good if you have experience as a technician or as a technologist in radiology, okay? Okay, so what's the requirement to be a higher education teacher, a lecturer, a professor here in Brazil? There are no pedagogic requirements, but in public higher education institutions like mine, for example, the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro and many others that we have here, we require strict sensu degree, a master or a doctoral. And also to become a professor at a public higher education institution here in Brazil, you have to go through a very thorough, very difficult selection process with many candidates, and it's very difficult, must have a good curriculum vitae and so on, experience. And I will come back later to that, but let's go on. So to be a higher education professor, you don't need pedagogic training. That's weird, right? So Simone, also a professional master candidate from that program, and also an employee at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, when she accessed when she enrolled in the professional master program, she came to me and said, Mario, when I worked at the Engineering Institute, the professors there came to me to say that, oh, I would like to have more training in pedagogics and didactics. What can you say to me? How can I be trained for this? So they knew they lacked this training to be a teacher, but they didn't know what to do to get better at that. So when she came to me with this story, incredible story, we developed her project, her master project, which is the analysis of the pedagogic training of university professors. We are using actually as a case study the Life Science Center, which is the center at which I work, because the Faculty of Pharmacy is in the Life Science Center. So I am data. I am data for her project, me and my colleagues. Okay. So why do we have this project? Because we have an old and still living problem, which is the continuation of instructional education in higher education. So the education based on content, based on the experience of the professor, and not focused on the student, not focused on developing competences. This type of teaching and learning system is old from the industrial time, the industrial era, and makes no sense anymore for this era. It is the era of technology. So that creates a low learning environment, a low stimulating environment for the students. Also, there is a disconnection from the fast changing careers and job market. You have to be also dynamic in the universities with the way we are teaching and training and preparing these future professionals. Students are bored because they go to the university only to receive information, but they were born and live in an era when the access to information is not the question, it's not the problem. The problem is what to do with this information. So they are bored. They spend long, unnecessary hours in classroom. So we do need to change this. So that's why we have this project, me and Simone. So what is she doing? Well, actually, what she did, because she's presenting her master thesis next month on the 15th of December, which we are happy, really happy about. So what did Simone do? she collected lots of data from a platform that we have here in a government website. It's Lattice, this word here, Lattice platform. Lattice platform has also a curriculum vitae repository. So all researchers in Brazil should create and maintain their curriculum vitae in this platform, okay? So we can reach there and access every researcher's curricula. So she got the names of all the professors here at the Life Science Center. We are 1,280 professors. So she downloaded all their curricula and analyzed lots of data. But what's important for us today, for this lecture, is that she analyzed the master and doctoral programs that these professors studied, okay? So all these 1,280 professors studied in their master or doctoral degree. Okay, let's see the results. So it's the names here are not translated, but this is not a problem for you. It's not important. But these are only the 10 most frequent master programs. What do I mean by 10 most frequent? So we had a total number of 1,280 professors that had a master degree, and 85 of them had the master degree on this program here, okay? Biophysics. 53 of them have a master degree in medicine, clinical medicine. 43 in biochemistry, and so on. Okay, I think you understand. So she analyzed, she collected the curricula of all these programs and analyzed the presence or absence and quantified the courses on didactics or pedagogy, any course on education. Why did she do this? Because I told you we don't have a requirement to be a professor at a university, not a pedagogic requirement. The only requirement we have is to have a master or doctoral degree. So she analyzed, okay, so the responsibility is on the programs, the master and doctoral programs. Let's see the curriculum, the curricula. So this is the results. Isn't this incredible? For example, the most frequent one has no course whatsoever, mandatory or optional, on didactics or pedagogy. And you can see all the other numbers. Okay, it's very low. There's something really wrong with this. So let's get to the next page, next slide, which is the doctoral program. So I'm only showing again the 10 most frequent ones. Again, many programs with no mandatory course and a few courses, optional course on education. So we are not training these professionals to be teachers. only to be researchers. Okay, there's something else that I want to tell you about what we are seeing here. I don't know if you noticed. Do you see the list of names here on master programs and doctoral programs? I know it's in Portuguese, it's not the problem, but can you see that almost all of them are from UFRJ, Federal University of Rio de Janeiro? So we have an endogeny here. It's we are hiring, we give preference to hire professors, professionals who studied in stricto sensu programs in the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. And this may be a problem that we have to deal with in the future, actually in the present, but that's another story. Let's continue. So this is part of the results from her thesis, only a small part, but it's really interesting to discuss this here. So what can be done? So if as I said before, if the requirement to be an university professor in Brazil is only to have a stricto sensu degree, then these programs, master and doctoral programs, should carry this burden. They should have in their curricula courses, mandatory courses on education, on higher education didactics and higher education methodology. Actually, I think this should come from above. The government itself, the Ministry of Education, should create the curricular directives for these programs, for stricto sensu programs, mandating that they should have mandatory courses on higher education didactics and methodology. Also, as an optional solution, maybe a side solution together with the curricular directives, the higher education institutions, the universities, should offer training for their professors. Mandatory training if they want to keep their job, for example. And also, I think we should have a more balanced selection process in public higher education institutions. The selection process to have professors. So we shouldn't do as we do now. We only look at their researcher curriculum. We should look also to their teaching curriculum. Did they have training in didactics and pedagogy? Do they have experience teaching? I think we have to take this more into consideration into this selection processes. Okay? My English is a bit rusty. I hope you are all understanding me. So let's go to part 3. So we have already seen a little bit some ideas for technology graduation in radiology curriculum, some ideas for stricto sensu programs curricula. And now there's a weird a weird situation here to talk about, because this is an ongoing situation. It's happening now in my unit, in my faculty of pharmacy. So let's see what is this. In 2017, Oh, let's just read this title. So it's the challenge of implementing a transdisciplinary curriculum for pharmacy, graduation in pharmacy here in the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. So let's see. In 2017, a new national curricular directive for pharmacy was put out. So all the programs in Brazil, the programs, graduation programs on pharmacy, should have to adapt to these directives, curricular directives, okay? Among many things, many aspects, these directives say that the program should focus on the students, on diversity, and I remember you talking to me before we start the lecture, inclusion of students with disabilities, for example. Yes. Yeah, and also taking into consideration that now the society is very dynamic. So before, I don't know, 70, 80 years ago, you could develop and design a curriculum for a graduation program and keep it for many years, decades. Why? Because society wasn't changing so fast, but now it's changing really fast. So many sub areas are being created, and we must have a very dynamic curriculum. Okay, second, a curriculum that develop competencies for this fast-changing world that we live in. And for last, but the most important, the faculties of pharmacy, the schools of pharmacy should try to implement transdisciplinary curricula. That's very difficult to implement. So in the very beginning of, how do we say this in English, of formal education, we had the really major disciplines and subjects, and we created curriculum, with multidisciplinary curriculum with these big areas, big disciplines, for example, physics, chemistry, engineering, biology, blah, blah, blah. So after that, we started the idea of interdisciplinary curriculum. And with this, we integrated some of those big areas, big disciplines, and started new courses within the curriculum to integrate some of these great areas. For example, physical chemistry, biochemistry. They are using the example of nanotechnology here, but this is only an example. Mechanical engineering, and so on. So what is transdisciplinarity is still being studied and perfected, but there is an idea of an early phase of transdisciplinary curriculum where you merge even more of these basic areas or intermediate areas and start to find nuances, areas that are now being raised in society. There are example here for when they merged physical chemistry, physics, chemistry, engineering, mechanical engineering. You have number one here, mechanochemistry. And then number 2, medical health sciences. And then number 3, biomechanical engineering, and then biomechanical, biochemical engineering. So what we are seeing here with transdisciplinarity, it is, how do I say this? It's, we are trying to mime, we are trying to put into the curriculum what we are seeing as changes in the society. The late phase of transdisciplinarity is very, very, very much disruptive, because you wouldn't have lots of separated courses in a curriculum. It's as if you would have only one course, pharmacy, and there everything would be integrated. You wouldn't have a time frame to organize your studies, for example, in semesters or years, school years or school semester. You would have a fluid, very fluid way of studying. But this is very disruptive and quite impossible to to apply in a institution that has rules and directives and administrative structures. So, okay, let's just talk about the first early phase of transdisciplinarity. So again, we have some issues that we are trying to address with this curricular reformation, or let's call it that, here in our Faculty of Pharmacy. We have an old instructional education system here, including here. We have a very difficult challenge, which are the professors who are very resistant to change, and they also are, as I showed you, we are not trained to be teachers. So we are very resistant to get out of our comfort zone, which is to get our big knowledge in a specific area and just communicate this instructional teaching. Also, we obviously can't disrupt the administrative structure of the university, fully disrupt. So we are talking about a mild disruption, okay? So what is happening here? Let me tell you. A senior colleague, a senior professor at the Faculty of Pharmacy, a colleague of mine, he has come with an idea, a proposition for a modern, integrated, hybrid, and transdisciplinary curriculum to adapt to the new curricular directives, okay? So after he came with this idea, the departments of the Faculty of Pharmacy created commissions. I am a member of the commission of my department. My department, as Julianto read for you, is Department of Clinical and Toxicological Analysis. Me and other 3 colleagues are part of this commission, we are discussing this prime idea from this professor, and we became responsible, kind of responsible to, let's say, to design what would become the life sciences integrated routes. Here in Brazil, we have a problem with the terms. The term the term course in Portuguese we say disciplina, but discipline is another thing. So and the term program we call, for example, graduation program we call curso, curso de graduação. So curso is not course and program is not programa. It's kind of confusing, but no problem. So we are calling programs here, but it's not a program, it's a route or an axis. So in these axes, we are going to integrate clinical, diagnostic, and medical aspects, life science aspects that are important to the pharmacy graduation degree, okay? So we decided, we had the idea of making access, I'm going to say routes, okay? So routes based on health disease, the relation of health and disease. And each of these routes that we designed would be divided in themes or problems or projects. They are going to guide and divide these routes. And epidemiology would lead the way. Why epidemiology? Because actually I teach epidemiology for the pharmacy students. So why epidemiology? Because epidemiology will first introduce the themes within a route, this big course, a very big course that we are calling a route. The epidemiology would lead the way. They would start the theme. Why? Because we are going to draw the epidemiologic scenario of that disease in Brazil and in the world. So we are going to show the importance of studying that theme. And then other disciplines and subjects and so on would guide the rest of the theme and the route. So it's a little abstract. So let me show you what we thought of building. So, for example, we had the idea of creating many routes or axes. So one of them, let's say, for example, it's the axis parasitosis and fungal infections, okay? 120 hours for this axis, this route, this big course. So we have a 15-week semester, school semester here in Brazil at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro. So with 120 hours, we'd have a 8-hour course load, weekly course load, okay? So we would divide in 3 days, 3 different days. The first day with epidemiology, presenting the problem, the situation, and then concepts, in this case, in parasites and fungi, and diagnostics of diseases and infections caused by fungi and parasites, and also how is the therapy, how is the treatment made for these infections and disease. So what do we need to build a course, a big course route like this one? Well, we are going to need the professors who have the knowledge needed for this. For example, me and my other colleague who teach epidemiology now in the current curriculum, and the other teachers, so the other teachers who teach clinical parasitology and mycology, this is another former, not former, but current courses, basic parasitology, clinical laboratorial diagnostic, and cardio and chemo pharmacology. Are you seeing? So we would have each axis of this would have some themes. For example, a themes in helminthiasis, and each theme would last 2 to 4 weeks. And these professors would alternate between these days and times to teach the concepts and how to make the diagnostics, the diagnose and to treat these problems and to present the epidemiology and so on. So this is our idea. We thought on other routes like this, on big courses like this, to integrate the knowledge. And so we are doing this so to prevent the student to see all these separately. We want to integrate them in one course based on health and disease, which is key for a pharmacy student, right? We thought of other routes or big courses like that, so viral and bacterial diseases, neoplasias, endocrine, metabolic, and digestive disease, and so on, okay? So what are we doing now to try and change this curriculum in pharmacy? We are trying a very mild disruptive transdisciplinarity. We are trying to incorporate digital online strategies for teaching and encouraging other professors to make an effort to cooperate in this change and reaffirming the need to change to competence-driven education here in our graduation on pharmacy. Well, that's what I wanted to show all you, this intersection of curriculum design and development that I am leading, not leading, I'm sorry, that I am dealing with right now in many fronts, with master students, with my own faculty of pharmacy, and so on. So I would like to, I hope you could understand my rusty English. Hope you liked, and we can discuss this data. Thank you very much. If you want to keep in contact with me, this is my email. If you want to download these slides, you can point your phone to this to this code, or I can send you later if you request me. It's not a problem. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Prof. Mario Gandra, for his lecture presentation. And now the discussion is extraordinary and can become the knowledge for all of us. The next session is a discussion or question and answer session. We have 15 minutes for those of you who want to ask Prof. Mario Gandra. Please click raise hand on the Zoom application. We will guide you one by one for the question and answer.
Click on what?
Process.
May I ask the question?
Oh, yeah, here.
Yeah, okay. 2, 3, Wahyuni.
Okay, thank you, Mas Yulianto. Professor, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah. For the introduction, I have a question. Not question. Actually, we do have a similar system here. You say that after, especially for the licensed, yeah, licensed, yeah. Did I say correct? Okay. Okay, we do have this program in my country. We call it. It's a training program for teachers for in-service teachers. Yeah, so they have like
for what?
In-service teachers.
Okay.
In-service teachers mean the real teachers who work in school, but they need to have like professional, how to become a professional teacher. So there is a program. It is called professional teacher training. So
Okay.
the duration is between like 6 to 8 months. Well, actually, like 1 semester plus. So it's very loaded semester. So, well, actually, I'm one of the instructor there. And then for the part one, it's the thesis of one of your master students here. Yeah, have questions. And how did you choose the? Okay, you explained that you designed a flexible curriculum here, so the students they will take a basic course, and then you said a mandatory course in they need to choose 2 course, like let's say from the 5, 2 out of 5. Am I correct? So
Yeah.
Okay, let's say for the radio diagnostics, and then you said that okay, most of them will choose autonomy,
Radio
because-
diagnostics.
right? Radio diagnostic, and then the other course, most of them will choose autonomy. How did you choose autonomy? I know it is, since it is a radio diagnostic study program or major or something like that. So how did you choose? Okay, let's say you say that because radio diagnostic got 0 attention, especially for the curriculum. What about students who want to choose? Okay, let's say students from the nuclear something. They want to join this. Can they take this? Can they take one of the course? Do they need to study autonomy here, since it is nuclear something? I need a clarification here, Professor.
Yeah, sure.
And okay, and for the part 2, well, actually, it's a we have this similar program here. It's designed by our university, and then other university, they take this program, training program for professors, yeah, in my university. So it is called Pokerti. Yeah, they need to learn how to give instruction, pedagogical instruction. Since most of them, they only have like research ability, research, let's say, okay, we have 2 different kind of university here, research university and teaching university, like university which produce teacher and professor who have these certifications for teaching. So for those who graduate from research university, they need to take this program. I think we have similar, we have many things in common, yeah? Okay, they need to take this program. So, sir, what does it mean, pedagogical training here? I think it's from one of your students, Miss Simone, I think, yeah. And
yeah.
how did she design this training? Then how did she measure? Okay, one professor. Okay, let's say Professor Z. Okay, she or he. Okay, I'm going to follow the trend right now. Non-binary gender. Okay, how did she know that they already fulfilled the training? Okay, the indicator. So what indicator? Okay. Okay, that's for the part 2. And then for the part 3, the challenge, you say, yeah. Okay, you say that, okay, for the transdisciplinary, does it mean dynamic? You said that dynamic curriculum means transdisciplinary, because earlier you said that flexible curriculum. Does it mean, are we talking the same thing here? Curriculum, flexible curriculum and dynamic curriculum for the transdisciplinary. Okay, for the hybrid curriculum, from one of your seniors, I'm sorry about the chicken song. That's my husband.
No problem.
Sorry, sir. Okay, what about the hybrid curriculum here? That's one of the.
It's hybrid in terms of online and in person. So hybrid means some parts of the courses are online and some parts of the courses are
Okay, offline.
in person. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it means that we are in the same term here, because hybrid means scholars use hybrid means that it's a combination between online and offline or something like that. So we are in the same page here. So since you teach I'm sorry, I'm not a pharmacist.
Epidemiology.
Okay, that is good.
Epidemiology.
Okay, since I'm not a pharmacist, lecturer or professors here, so epidemiology, sorry, okay, that's the umbrella, and then it's you break it down into themes. That's the road, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
That's the way you design it. That's you call it road. You say that, okay, let's say it is road, not the access. Okay, that's the road. And then you design weekly courses loaded. Okay, 4 hours, 8 hours, 2 hours for the concept, 4 hours means that 2 + 2 for the diagnostic, and 2 hours for
treatment.
Practice. Yes, treatment or something. Am I correct here? So I think how did you come up with the 8? How did you come up with the 8 hours there? Thank you, sir.
Okay, so let me see if I remember all your questions. So to address the first one, as I told you, both Cesar and Simone and all professional master candidates, they should present the thesis, but not only the thesis, but also a product. For example, Simone is studying and analyzing, investigating the pedagogic training of higher education professors, okay? So her product is going to be a web page where she's going to have in this web page all programs on higher education didactics that are offered in Rio de Janeiro and in Brazil if they are online, so that the professors in our institution can look in this page, web page, and maybe choose a program, a lato sensu program, for example, to study and be a better teacher at the university. So we are talking about products here, okay? In Cesar's project, the product that we thought of developing is a model, a template for a flexible curriculum for technological graduation in radiology. So we are still developing these, but we already have some ideas, which are having those mandatory courses on the subjects, on the work areas, in all of them, so that the curriculum will not be focused only on diagnostics, radio diagnostics. And also, after the students had those first basic courses in the curriculum, then the mandatory specific work areas courses, they could choose two, maybe 3 of the 5 possible routes. So these routes would run in parallel, okay? For example, I am a student if I am a student the student X, student X, after having studied the first basic course and then the mandatory work area course, he would have to choose 2 routes. So he could choose the route of radioisotopes and the route of nuclear medicine. So he's going to take that courses from those routes until he finishes those routes and get his degree. It's a degree, it will be a normal degree in technology graduation in radiology, but now he would have 2 emphases of knowledge, of preparation, okay, to be a professional. What I said there, it's in this early prototype of this template curriculum template. Maybe 2 choices, and probably if something like this is implemented, probably the students would always choose one of the routes to be radiodiagnostics, because this makes easier to get a job after, and probably another one, which I don't know. That's the autonomy for the student. He can choose any route he wants because he already has the basic training in all of these 5 areas plus management. I don't know if I correctly answered your question, because you asked other
Yes.
questions.
Because because I know it's quite late there, so I don't want to so
Not a
I
problem.
just rush everything.
It's not a problem. But the question about Simone's project, I don't
Yeah.
think I remember that one.
Okay, I can read that there. So it's for how did she design for the training. So you mentioned like they need the professors that they need pedagogical training. So it has to do with the education, didactics, and methodology. So how did she design that training? Since the level of the professors, I believe they already have like for the knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, they already have. I mean, intelligence in terms of their knowledge in their field. So how did she design that to reach that level? And then how did she measure that some professor already like meet the standard that, okay, Professor Z, she or he or they already meet the minimum requirement for the training for the pedagogical
Okay.
training. Yeah.
Okay. Now I think I understand. Thank you very much. So what we think, since the only requirement is to have a master or doctoral degree, we think that those curricula should be half-half. So 1/2 of cutting edge courses on the area of that master or doctoral program. For example, if it's a doctoral in I don't know, biochemistry, for example, so 50%, around 50% of courses in cutting edge biochemistry, and 50% of the courses in pedagogy, in didactics, and teaching methodology, higher education teaching methodology. If this is mandatory, if this becomes mandatory, so we know when this professional is under the selection process to become a professor, we already know that he went through this training, that would be standardized, for example. But if I understood you correctly, we could also try to assess this, to measure this through the selection process. So having the selection process a form of measuring this training. Is he really trained to be a teacher? Here in Brazil, we don't have this differentiation between universities. We just have one kind of university, and we have research and teaching, and even among professors. We don't have a distinction between a researcher professor, let's call like this, and a lecturer professor. We do everything. So that would also be nice if we could have not different institutions, but different careers within the institutions. A professor teacher that would deal with graduation programs and mandatorily, and one professor researcher that would deal with research and stricto sensu programs. But this is just a dream. So for the third question that you asked, let me see here. You asked about yeah, the idea. So just to level the information, epidemiology is the science that studies the occurrence of diseases in populations. So it wouldn't be exactly the umbrella, but it would be the guide through a route, a big course like that. Why? Because only epidemiology can set the importance of studying this or that. Why? Because epidemiology would say, so this is important to study because we have a lot of, for example, parasitosis in the northeast of Brazil, because we have a lot of parasitosis in the world, in the equatorial region of the world, for example, and so on. So why do we have to work to study neoplasias and cancers? Because this is one of the leading causes of death nowadays in the world. So epidemiology has it would be the umbrella in this sense of guiding the programs and the courses. And the organization, the weekly organization, that's the challenge. Because we are used to work in our boxes, in our squares. We don't have and don't want to deal with other professors. But to set this big course with many expertise inside, we are going to need tight teams and lots of cooperation to work together to make a course, a transdisciplinary course, which is more natural for the students. And because out there in the world, in their professional career, they don't have boxes. The situations, the professional situations, are all mixed with many expertise and disciplines and subjects. So I don't know if I could address your question, your doubt, but
yeah,
that's what we are trying to do.
Yeah, you answer all of them correctly.
Thank you.
Okay, I only
Relief.
for the last one, I can imagine this must be very complicated because you have to deal with the professors who have many things in their. Okay, it sounds complicated, but
and three, this is only beginning here. This is started less than a month. So what I told you in this presentation it's what we are still trying to model.
To find the pattern, what kind of
Yeah.
things that, okay, I
Yeah.
really understand that. That makes sense, yeah. It's something new because, yeah,
Very new.
for the transdisciplinary, it's not easy, especially for the nanotechnology or something, but
Mhm.
everything's making sense, Professor. Thank you very much for the explanation.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
questions.
Thank you.
If you or any other of you want to discuss this further in the future, please contact me through email or WhatsApp, and sending also my contact for, I saw that someone asked here, so this is also my contact. If you want to
Is it WhatsApp or is it WhatsApp, Professor?
Yeah,
Is it
for WhatsApp,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, inshallah,
That's my
if
telephone
I
number.
have some questions, I will drop some message in your WhatsApp,
Nice,
sir.
thank you.
Okay.
I would love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Putri Wahyuni Flori, atas and answer from Prof. Mario Gandra. The end of this discussion session means we have entered the closing session. We thanks Prof. Mario Gandra for his extraordinary presentation of the material, and it is a new knowledge we can get this morning. We also thanks to ladies and gentlemen who participate in the academic discussion for all their care and attention. We apologize if there error during the discussion process. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Prof. Mario Gandra. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Julianto, thank you very much for this invitation.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Professor
Professor.
Brody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Nice to meet you all. Have a
to
nice
meet you,
day.
sir.
I'm going to sleep.
Okay, good night, sir.
See you,
Good
bro.
night.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, bro.